Welcome everyone to our webinar on becoming a transformational lender, where we will discuss the topics of sales, technology, and leadership in the mortgage space. And whatever it is that you're doing as a leader, no matter what your role, you can be significant. So today, to help me, I've got two incredible guests that I have the pleasure of interviewing, and I know will bring tremendous value to you over the next 60 minutes. Do me a favor though, stay to the end. We have some action items for you, but I'm probably going to ask the most important question at the end. And Dale's even got an impactful piece of story that I want him to, I'm going to ask him to share. So let's get it on with our guests, shall we? The first is someone who's mastered the art of identifying client problems, building tech solutions, and still having a boatload of fun. And I'm not just saying that because he writes my checks. That's Mr. No Borrower Left Behind, Chief ROI Booster and co-founder of Sales Boomerang, Alex Kosician. Alex, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, my pleasure, my friend. And with over 25 years, and actually I've heard so many numbers, I think 25 years training, but maybe 38 overall years of training and equipping over 1 million mortgage professionals. Our second guest is a living legend, and we are honored to have him today. Dale Vermillion is the founder and CEO of Mortgage Champions and the creator of the award-winning Guaranteed Path to Sales Success, author of Navigating the Mortgage Maze. He is the trusted voice in the mortgage industry, a wealth of wisdom, and we've got him here for the next 60 minutes. Dale, how are you, my friend?
Pablo, thank you so much. Kind words. Alex, great to be with you guys. Can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to ask some questions, right? Really around the topics of sales, technology, and leadership. I'm going to be keeping my eye on the clock, but I fully expect, guys, a real and organic conversation to come out of this between the two of you. So full transparency for everyone that's listening in. This is not scripted. Okay. They have not been handed a list of the questions. And so this should be entertaining. Gentlemen, let's get it started. Can we jump right in?
Let's go.
All right. Dale, I want to start with you.
Okay.
I actually really wanted to save this question for a little later, but something's just telling me to ask it now. Let's get right into it. What are mortgage companies doing wrong today? Maybe you can pull back the curtain a bit. Like, what are they?
Wow. Why don't you just come out and ask it?
Well,
wow.
Look, there's a lot of answers I can give that, but let me give you the two or three that I think are the big ones that matter. And I think the first one is we are not tying our technology to the human relational aspect of a mortgage business. We're missing the opportunity to take great tools like Sales Boomerang and connect them to the human experience of relational sales. That is the lost art in the mortgage business today, Pablo. I'm just, the thing that I'm working with teams on all the time is the importance of making sure that they understand that at the end of the day, this is the single largest, most personal financial decision most people ever make in their lifetime. It needs a pro who can walk them through the process. And the more we can position our loan officers to work in complement to our technology, instead of letting the technology work in place of them, the more successful we become. So I think that's number one. I think number two is we get too price and product focused. Look, nobody buys because of the rate. Contrary to popular belief, people buy because of the value you create for them in their life. Remember, a mortgage is a significant decision. You said something earlier that I love, Pablo. You talked about significance. And I want to touch on that for a minute, because if you think about it, there's two things. There's success and significance. And I've always said the success is about you. Significance is about the other. It's about helping others to make a difference in their life. In the mortgage business, we have no greater opportunity than to do that every single day in every single transaction. And as a mortgage company and as a mortgage loan officer or a mortgage leader, we need to make sure that we're focusing on how are we creating value for our borrowers beyond the competition? How are we helping them change their life financially in a powerful way? How are we bringing a relationship in that builds trust and loyalty so that they, all of our technologies come to light and become powerful components as a complement to what we're doing? And then lastly, how do we make sure that we stay in touch with that borrower to create that loan officer for life, customer for life mindset. And I know you guys do a great job at that in your technologies and creating tools to help loan officers do that. But look, at the end of the day, here's the biggest mistake I've seen for 38 years. We focus on the transaction. We got to focus on all the transactions.
Right.
I want to not only sell that borrower and get them to become my customer today, but I want them to be my customer for life. And I want everybody they know to become my customer for life also. The only way you do that is by merging value with relationship, with technology, creating differentiation. Do those things, you're golden.
Wow. You know, I I mean, that is like the recipe right there, right? I mean, you nailed it. And I can see why over 1 million originators have trusted you to help them, because that's the mindset. I mean, look, and it sounds like Dale may be sharing something with you guys that you've heard before, but Dale, you know this: repetition, 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 repetition. If you're hearing it from the most successful, for the people that are doing it, there's probably a reason why you keep hearing it over and over again. It's now time to implement it. You know, if I had to answer that question, I'd say the biggest mistake that mortgage lenders, you know, Dale has done a great job talking about Originator, and there is a lender mindset. What I would say as a lender, right, the biggest mistake is treating your company as a sales team and not a business. It's one of the biggest things I've seen, that lenders don't treat their mortgage industry, their mortgage company, as a business. They treat it as a outsourced sales team that's just got to put numbers on it, but they're not building culture. They're not building brand. They're not doing anything. Oh, come on, guys. All we got to do is sell rate, sell rate, sell rate. If we're the lowest on the block, we're going to be the best. Yeah. And that's a sprint. There's you know, you may want to join that organization just to learn something, and probably learn something not to do for forever, but that's not a business. And what I've seen, Dale, and you know, I wonder where your position is here. Those organizations that position themselves as a company that just so happens to be doing mortgages are those that continue to climb. There's no decline. It's only upwards, up and to the right, their success. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Dale.
So Vince Lombardi had a great quote. He said, "Success demands singleness of purpose. The achievements of an organization are the combined results of each individual." It exactly says, Alex, what you just mentioned a moment ago. It's one of my favorite quotes of all time, and here's the reason why. Everybody talks about customer experience. It's like it's the word that gets thrown around more than any phrase that I hear in the entire industry. But when it really comes down to it, are we really creating a great customer experience? Well, let me tell you right now. If we are doing exactly what Alex just said, and we're only focusing on the sales side of it, the origination side, and we're missing the rest of the boat, we're not creating a great customer experience. For example, operations. I never call them ops teams. They're an extension of sales.
Yes.
That's what they are. Sales is the originators that starts the boat moving, but you got to remember the key to success in the mortgage industry has always been the same. You've got to create a factory mentality, meaning you're developing an assembly line is really what you're doing. The key to an assembly line has always been the same. Every person who touches a part of that assembly has to be a specialist, and they have to be exceptional at what they do. Because if they drop the ball on their station, what happens? The assembly line has to stop. It has to come off the assembly line, come back up the assembly line, get back in there, redone again, and go again. That's the mistake we see. A customer experience is where we take a holistic, cradle to grave approach as business leaders and say, you know what? We're not about just building an originations team, but we've got to build a great support system behind it through our operations, an extension of sales. Yeah. Same with our closers, same with our funders, same with our administrators. And we got to understand the person answering the phone or the person sitting at the desk at the front of the office is every bit as important as the CEO. There is no difference in the importance of those people. That's how you build a great organization.
Amazing. That right there. If you guys are listening, that right there, you take that with you. You can take that to any organization in any industry you ever go to. There's no one more important on the team. The team is the most important. CEO is not any more important than the receptionist or the salesperson or the CTO. I love that. That is the greatest advice anyone can take in business, or in any sort of team that they're in. I love that.
So, you know, it's so much value just within the first, 5 minutes here. And
just getting started.
You know, and I was smiling the whole time, right, Alex? Because what I just heard Dale explain there was very similar to that sports franchise, right? Where the key person at every single position that's got to be a specialist at exactly that. It's got to be the right person. But isn't it interesting that what we want to do for our company is also really, we should be mirroring what we want to do for our clients is what we need to be doing for ourselves. So you look at your process, and I just have a question kind of following up, Dale, and yeah, Alex as well. Are there, so those are the problems, right? So those are the high level problems. What would you say, are there warning signs, and are those warning signs visible? Or wow. Sometimes are they invisible? And so how can we shift if in either case?
Yeah, I mean, they're very visible. They're visible in a lot of places. They're visible in your retention of your employees. They're visible in your retention of your customers. Most importantly, if you're not renewing your customers that you're doing business with, you're completely, you can tell me all day long. I mean, look, I coach and I consult to CEOs all over the country, okay? And I say this to them all the time. If you want to know how good your organization is, just look at how many times your customers work with you. That's the answer to the question. Because if they're a one-stop, one-time transaction, then we're completely missing the boat as an organization, and we're not doing an end-to-end solution the way that we're supposed to. If you're doing it right and truly creating the right customer experience, those customers are coming back again and again and again, and they are more than willing to not only give you great ratings, great reviews, but also referrals, abundanza. That's what you should be getting. So these are telltale signs. You can look at it in your employee ranks by the retention of your people. You can look at it in your customer ranks by the retention of your customers. And you can look at it in the consistency of your production charts. So if you're graphing your production and it's all over the place, let me tell you right now, you don't have a great customer experience because you're market trending instead of creating your own trending.
Yes.
I always teach my clients, you got to be in control. That's got to be a straight uphill climb all the time. Every month, your organization should do more than the month before and more than the month before that. And we should always be vying to improve and get better and produce more. And that doesn't mean working more hours. That means just crystallizing the entire process from sales to ops to back end and everything in between. When you do that and you see those telltale signs, that's telling you, you've got an alert, you got a problem, you got to fix it.
Listen, I mean, honestly, I couldn't have come up with a better answer, but I love what you said there, Dale. Like, look, if you're listening to what Dale just said and you're like, haha, that's a dream. Like, that's not, you can't always be up and to the right. There's your sign. There's your sign right there. My 6-year-old just tapped me on my elbow and literally said, Jello.
And don't forget to get them Jello.
Don't forget to get them Jello. Izzy.
Dale,
real quick, I'm back. So look,
awesome.
if you asked if there are clear signs right there, if you're literally listening to Dale say that and you're like, that's possible if you're dreaming, but no way, that's for me. There's your sign. There's your sign right now. Take a look at what's going on because you're in it. If your business looks like this, like the market does, then you have an issue. And I love what you said about retaining your team and your customers. That is so important. We talk about this all the time. This is why I said right in the beginning, what's the biggest problem in this industry is that this industry doesn't look at itself as a business. They look at themselves as sales. And so of course they'll follow the market. And so we always say that, look, you want to see a sign of a healthy business. Look at the amount of people that come back to you. Look at the amount of people that come back to you and want to do business with you again, and look at the amount of people that want to stay in your organization. So we echo the exact same thing. Those are clear signs that something is wrong. If you're top producer, every time you have a top producer, 6 months after they get there, they leave, there's an issue, right? There's a systematic problem. And I'll mention one more thing that's kind of tying the first two questions together. And I'll bring up a name like Quicken just because it's easy. It's easy because of they've gone public. We know they're one of the largest in the country. And Dale mentioned this before, it's tying all those things together, tying the process, the technology, supporting the people. If you think inside Quicken that the person working in Arizona and the person working in Texas for Quicken is using a different system, using different messaging, using different processes, no way. They've built a business, a scalable business, a business they can turn on anywhere and they can succeed. And so, look. You've heard it. You're like, oh, I've heard this before. Why is this advice being given to us again? It's being given again because it just works. So if you're looking around your organization and things aren't, we have the best technology over here in the corner and this best technology over here in the corner, but they don't communicate. That's another problem, right? So become Lego builders, right? Put those pieces together, make them look better together. Don't let them sit aside in corners individually. So I just love what you said there.
So good, Alex. So, Dale, I think I heard you say this on a recent call, something about once a customer enters the mortgage process, right? The sales, whether they're going into the process because they've listed their home for sale, or they're going in the process to do a refi, for example, that between the time they enter that process to the time that they close, the number of times that they are targeted, right? Online, offline, phone calls, bots, all these different things. I can't remember. It was 100.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to, how is a lender, how's anyone supposed to compete with that throughout that process that, some cases takes a couple of weeks, some cases takes a month, longer?
So studies tell us
Talk to
it's
us
between
about that a
100
little
and
bit.
200 times. It's because you've got every form of media and technology attacking your borrowers. The biggest enemy you've got is this thing right here called a smartphone. Alexa and Siri hear everything we say. So what happens is your borrower is applying for a mortgage. They're having conversations about it. That's going to register into the social media aspect of the marketing engine that's within your phone, and they're going to get hammered with ads on mortgages. They're going to get credit triggered when they pull their credit report. They're going to get hit on massive media through radio, TV, every kind of ad you can imagine. They're getting hit in so many directions. It's unbelievable today, not to mention outbound telemarketing, all the other things. So all of this creates this havoc with your borrowers. So what's the answer to staving that off? Really two major answers. Number one, you darn well better have a relationship. This goes back to what I opened with, is that you can't just rely on your technology. You know what the number one mistake I see in today's marketplace with loan officers? They take great technology, online applications, shoot a link to the borrower and let the borrower self-serve and say, you know what, just fill out your information and I'll call you with a quote. Where's the relationship in there? Where's your understanding of that borrower's goals? I said earlier that we want to have sales and ops work together. So ops becomes an extension of sales, that sales should be the center of your organization, but not the only thing in your organization, as Alex said a moment ago, which was so true. Well, let me tell you what sales is defined as in my book: solution. That's all it is. It's not pressure. It's not rates. It's not any of that stuff. It's not price and product. It's solution. It's solving the financial need of the borrower. So if solution is the key, then what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that we're providing our customers with the right solution through a relationship where the loyalty is not just to the product, it's to the actual producer. That's what has to happen. And then you got to stay in contact through that process. I see this all the time.
Yes.
I call it the great handoff. We throw them into the dark hole. We originate the deal and go, okay, here you go. Take it from here. Wait a minute. If the loan officer is the primary originator who gets the primary commission, isn't it on them to stay in contact at least once a week with that borrower all the way through the process? I would say absolutely yes. And your technologies help with that, which is the beauty of it, is that it can help foster that kind of relationships. The key to all of that is time block it out. Don't do drip communications. That's the mistake everybody makes. Don't just react and respond. Instead, set an afternoon. Thursday afternoon is your callback day. You put everybody in your pipeline and you're ripping right through your pipeline. Hey, Mr. Jones, Dale Vermillion, just calling, just check in. Hope your week is going well. Hey, look, no news is good news. Haven't heard a word. That means you're moving along fine. Want to make sure you're doing good. That touch point totally keeps them in. If they don't hear from you for 2 to 3 weeks and you're relying on the processor to sell your deal, you're making a mistake in this business. So you got to build that relationship. You got to create solution, and you got to stay in contact. You follow those 3 things, you minimize all of that havoc. And when somebody says, yeah, I'm getting calls, well, you know what? You should have told them that at the application stage and said, you're going to get hammered. Let me just tell you right now, pre-warn them, you're going to get hammered. But you know what? You chose me for a reason.
Right.
You chose our company because you loved the loan. You loved what it did for you. You loved the way that we helped you. Don't let these guys who call in are all going to tell you their rates are lower. Don't believe it for a minute. They don't know a thing about you. I know everything about you. I gave you a great deal. Let's get it done.
That's it. That's it. I mean, that's exactly what it's about. And that relationship. So Dale, let me ask you this. So you're saying, hey, follow up and stay present and be in front of them and build a relationship. And when you're calling in every week, I hear you saying that, but is there anyone that you're mentoring that does that?
There's a whole bunch of people that I'm mentoring that are doing that.
And how well are they doing?
They're closing 30, 40, 50, and 60 loans a month. They're making paychecks that so many people out there would drool over in a minute. Look, I'm gonna tell you my favorite tip of all time, and it's always been to me the single most important baseline for success in this business.
Yes.
If you want to close 15 loans a month, every single month, guaranteed, no questions asked, as a bare bones minimum. Now, the average is about 3 to 4 nationwide. So 15 for most people would be a massive increase.
Absolutely.
Here's all you got to do. 1 sale a day. But here's the key to that sale. It's got to be a committed sale. It can't be, I took an app, I threw out an offer, shot them a disclosure, and now I'm waiting to see what happens. It's got to be no. I literally spent an hour with the borrower, built an incredible relationship, got all their documentation up front, did it right, get a complete app that ops can now move through that process in 2 weeks flat, and we're going to close that thing quicker than anybody ever imagined because we did it right. When you do that once a day, you put 21 deals a month in your pipeline. Industry standard, 75% of those will fund, 25% will fail. And here's what I know. You do not know which ones are going to fund, and you do not know which ones are going to fail. I guarantee it. But it don't matter because if 75% close out of 21, you're closing 16. If you get 2 sales a day, and that's what I teach my clients to do, get 2. Spend an hour with 2 people and do it right. That's way better than throwing 10 against the wall at 5 minutes apiece, and nobody sticks because they all get pillaged by your competition because you have no relationship, no trust, and no loyalty. If you follow that simple edict, oh my gosh, you close a ton of loans. It's the secret to success.
That's wow. And lenders listening in, right? So what Dale just gave everyone on the call is the originator recipe to success here. And this is something that starts, and Dale, you know this, you want the organization to feel this way, not just a couple individuals that you can put as poster children and say, hey, look how well they're doing. Try to aspire to be as half as good as them. No. You as an organization should want every person on your team to be a super producer, 15 or more, 16 or more every single month. And here's the thing, retention, right? Retention, recapture, repeat business, and referrals becomes easy when you do that. It's easy. Spending that time truly building a relationship. And this is a great, actually, it's so funny that you're mentioning this, Dale. I just posted something from what's his name? Simon Sinek on my LinkedIn. And it just so happened that in an interview, he was talking about his mortgage loan officer. It wasn't what you saw that, right? Pablo? He talked about, he did a deal with a loan officer. The loan officer called a week after the deal was done and goes, hey, Simon, how are you? Can you send me a referral? It was just like that. How are you doing? Can you send me a referral?
He said, congratulations on your loan. Can you send me a referral? And that's when it clicked for Simon, right? Where he was like, he didn't call me to congratulate me.
Yeah. He just called me to get a referral. And then he gave an example of him looking for wallpaper for his house. He got a recommendation. The guy that came over looked at his house. It was a beautiful house. And the guy that took a look at his house said, you know what? I would love to take on this project, but I'm not the best guy for you. I have a better solution for you. I have a person that is just specializes in exactly what you're looking for. May I make an introduction for you? Because I think he'll take way better care of you than I can. Made the intro. And then Simon is cracking up going, you know what I'm doing every day? I'm introducing this guy that didn't do my wallpapers to everyone I know, hoping that I can have a chance to work with him one day. Right?
I love it.
That's relationship building, right? That's relationship building, guys. Don't be on the phone for 5 minutes going, let's see if I can sell them. Let's see if I can sell. No, get to know these people, right? Get to know them. Spend an hour, right? Spend that hour. And that goes so far into retention. And remember, you guys are getting referrals too. Your lenders, your team is getting referrals. Originators, you are getting referrals. So you're not doing your referral partner any service by hopping on a call and saying, hey, yeah, Dale told me you're looking for this. Yeah, sure, I can help you. Listen, I'm going to send you a link. Once you fill it out, let me see what I can qualify you for. All right. Yeah, have a great day. Click. No, that's not doing service to your referral partner. And so get to know these people. Like that is a true, you know what? I'll say it like this. People are like, well, how do I get to know each other? How do I get to know people? It's hard. Let's give them, here's something I can tell you. If you're genuinely curious, just genuinely curious about the person. Dale, hey, Dale, where you calling me from? Oh, you're calling me from this place? Fantastic. I've never been there before. How do you like living there? And just get curious, just like totally curious. And people like sharing things about themselves when they feel that you're really curious. You're not trying to put them in a box and trying to get an application from them. So let me just leave it there. But that's some people don't know how to start to build a relationship. Just be curious. That's all.
Yep. Good.
I love that. And one thing I love about both you guys love using, or at least from the sounds of it, analogies to take something that seemingly is complex, but make it super simple. Dale, as you were describing that process that you take your producers through,
Yes.
of time blocking, for example, and just going through. I was in the mortgage industry, but I was also in the restaurant industry as a bartender for quite some time. Back in my heyday, I put myself through college. I was the only kid that would have cash in my pocket at that time. But the thing about bartending is it's almost like you said, right? You don't know who is going to tip the best or who's going to tip, period. But so you got to take care of every single person. And I remember it would be jam-packed. I mean, look at the season that we just went through, right? You're jam-packed with all this business. You don't know which ones are going to fund. But while you're funding, you got people that are waiting, and they've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Hey, can I get a drink? Can I get a drink? All it would take for me to put that person at peace, even if I'm across the bar, all the way at the other side, making a drink, 10, deep over here, I would look over and I would say, I know you're there. I'm going to be right there.
Yes.
I as soon as I can, I see you. And that's all it would take. And I don't know how much time I'd buy, or how much that would help me in my tips, but I just love that. I have a question for you around this idea of not price and product, but value and service, right? Price is what you pay, value is what you get. And I've heard you train on the reference on that in reference to a customer who is rate shopping.
Yep.
So with regards to analogy, right, let's move it from just that rate shopper dealing with a loan officer to maybe that purchase decision maker in an organization, in a mortgage company, when he or she are considering who they'll purchase from, right? Whether it's leads, technology, training, how important is it for them to look at that side of the coin, right? That not the price and product, that's important, but more importantly, the value and the service.
Well, you just said a key phrase I use all the time. Warren Buffett said, price what you pay, value is what you get. But I always finish that with this statement. It's never what you pay that matters. It's always what you get. Always. We're Americans. We're the most consuming people on the planet. Nobody spends more money on stuff that we don't even need than we do. Okay. And it's always amazing to me how, we look at it. It's interesting. We buy into these lies in the mortgage business. And one of the lies is that I hear all the time from loan says, well, Dale, today borrowers don't care about relationship. It's so tech driven. It's all about rate. And I look at them and I go, do you really believe that for a second? This is on average a $340,000 decision based on the average loan size of a home today. They're not making any other $340,000 decisions. This is not an Amazon purchase of a $10 item that's being delivered to your door. This is a complex 30-year, 25-year, 20-year decision that really takes some knowledge to gain. So here's the deal. You got to quit buying in that lie. You got to understand, because surveys prove this all the time. Borrowers say it again and again. They want a professional to guide them through the process. They want to work with an expert who knows what they're doing, who can help them disseminate between different loan products, programs, offers, and all of those things. That's the beauty of it. And at the end of the day, they're not going to buy the one that's the cheapest. They're going to buy the one that's the best. So any buyer in any situation, if you can lay out a case for them to show them how the value you're creating is greater than the competition's value, even though the price is higher, 9 out of 10 people will pay the higher price in America. 1 out of 10 will not. Let them go. They're not your buyer. I don't care about losing 10% if I'm selling 90%. But you got to focus on the 90%. And I want to go back again for a minute. I wanted to say 2 more things about the time thing. Time is our greatest commodity. Of all the things we're given in life, God only gives us a finite number of days, years, hours, and weeks in our lifetime. And we don't know what that finite time is. We have no idea. So we got to make every minute count. I have learned in this business, when you slow down, you actually speed up. And the reason is by slowing down and doing things right, you actually put a quality product into the pipeline that can close faster, that has better loyalty, that the borrower sticks with you, and they give you all that future business where when you speed up, you're just slamming stuff up against the wall and ain't none of it sticking, because it is a high-tech world. You know what high-tech does for consumers? It doesn't make them more informed. It makes them more confused. That's what it really does. They have so many offers to look at, and they're like, what do I do with this? Oh, let me talk to a great originator who knows this business well, that can guide me through that. That's the one that's going to get the deal every single time. So if you're going to succeed in this market, you got to understand, especially in a rising rate. We're in a rising rate market now. Do you really think they want to hear your rates today? They want the 2020 rates. They don't want the 2021 rates. So you can say, oh, you know what? Where rates like 2.25? Can I get that? Well, it's like going to a Lamborghini dealership, walking in and saying, I want to drive a Lamborghini, but I want to pay BMW pricing. They're going to look at you and go, then go to BMW. You're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Okay. You ain't getting this car for a BMW price. Well, you're not getting rates today at 2020 rates, but it doesn't matter what the rate is. What's the value?
Yes.
What am I going to do? It's going to change your life in a powerful way. If I can do that, I'm going to win.
Yeah, man,
listen to what Dale just said. Like, this is so important. You are not in sales. You are a guide. You are a guide. You are just guiding them. You are not, and I say this a lot about actually raising kids and parents raising kids. You are not the ball, and you're not the hand throwing the ball down the lane. You are the bumpers. You are the bumpers, making sure that the ball gets to the end. That's all you're doing. So be a guide, right? Just guide them. And to guide them means you have to listen. You have to understand them, right? We actually just had, I saw a message here that Dave Savage just posted from Mortgage Coach. And I love what they say. This is perfect timing, Dave. It's like you did it on purpose. So congratulations. Your timing is spot on as always. I love what they say. I'm sure, Dale, you've heard of them, of Joe and Dave saying this, and the entire team at Mortgage Coach talking about this. Advice over price. Advice over price, right? Look, relationships, if you're in an organization where you're hearing your leadership say that we understand people are shopping for prices, just do your best, leave now. Leave now. If your organization is saying it's a price game, we're going to keep dropping the price, we're going to win by price, you're just leave now. I'm telling you, it is relationship. It's always going to be relationship. $340,000. That is not, as Dale said, a $10 purchase. That is a relationship. That is a decision that you have to sleep on. You have to think about. You have to maybe talk to your neighbors, maybe talk to your family, to your friends, to your coworkers. It is a process you're going through, and you, as somebody that's originating that loan, should know that they're going through this. We're talking about. I was just speaking at the New England Expo in Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun, and I got into a conversation with the folks from AmeriSave about relationship. And somebody brought up a great point. I believe it was Josh Lee that's on their TPO team that brought up a great point. He goes, "Do you know how much anxiety is in your customer's life at the moment of a mortgage transaction or a purchase?"
So
Through the
a
roof.
purchase.
Yeah, it's amazing, and we don't do a great job seeing them eye to eye there. But as Dale said, if you could spend an hour with them, and you can listen to them, and you can let that fear subside and that anxiety subside, and then every week you're following up and letting them know, look, I know Domino's came out with the pizza tracker just maybe a year ago, but don't we all love it? Don't we all love to know that it just got boxed and is getting into a car? We're seeing it. We're feeling a little better. It's not like, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? It's, we know where they are. They're telling us, but even that is not, because Domino's knows they don't need to know you personally at each place, but you should know each one of your customers personally at every step, and pick up the phone and mention a text. Shoot, if you can get on text message relationship, that's even more personal. Hey, buddy, everything is good. This is what's going on. No news is good news, as Dale said. Like that touch point is so important. And it is relationship. I agree with you so much in that it's relationship. And again, kind of bringing back technology and the fact that Dave was just mentioning something, use the technology to support the relationship, not to replace it, support it, complement. Exactly right.
It's interesting because one of the things that I teach loan officers on the retail side of the house that are working with real estate partners is your number one goal as a loan officer, believe it or not, is to build a better relationship, be considered a better advisor, and have better trust and loyalty with that consumer than the realtor ever has.
Yes.
Most loan officers don't do that. Most loan officers are like, oh, yeah, the relationship with the realtor, and I just happen to have a partnership, they're getting business. That's the wrong mindset. When you give me a referral, I'm going to work hard to give you such good advice that my advice is actually better than the realtor. So what happens is that consumer's like, oh my gosh, this is my true advisor right here.
So good.
Especially in today's marketplace when realtors aren't given the greatest advice in this crazy market we're in with low inventory and massive bidding wars and all of this waiving all of these things they shouldn't be waiving, like inspections and mortgage clauses and all these kinds of things. So what I teach the launchers, build that incredible trust, that incredible relationship, that incredible loyalty where that borrower says, you know what, no matter what, I'm going with this loan officer. You'll never get unhooked again if you do that, because that's a number one problem we see is getting unhooked by realtors because they feel they're in the driver's seat. They're not in the driver's seat when the borrower prefers you over anybody in the transaction.
And let me, and I don't know where you're going to be going with these questions, Pablo, but I want to tie a couple of things together. First of all, I just want to mention,
Tied up, man.
Tony in chat just said, people don't buy a product, they buy you. Nice job, Tony. That's exactly right. And again, not sure where this is going, but I do want to tie this all back together, technology, for just a minute. You've just spent time building a relationship with someone. You've just done a loan. You've just taken the time to get to know them, and throughout the entire process, understood them, met them where they are, felt their anxiety, made them feel better. You've just built this great relationship. Now, you have someone like Sales Boomerang that when that borrower is ready for another loan, you can begin the process again. And guess what? When you get on the phone with that person, because you've just been alerted that they're ready for you, you go, hey, remember the experience last time? It's going to be even better because time has passed and I've gotten even better at this, right? I've got even more things to support me and to support you. Let's do this all over again. And guess what you don't have to do? You don't have to ask for a referral because it will come to you. Just by doing that, it's when somebody walks into an office, into a family event, onto a party, and you start talking about your experience of buying a home or doing a mortgage, and they're like, what? That's not the experience I had. He did what, they did what, they said what, they communicated how. It's like, yeah, you want his number? Let me text it to you. My experience with the last time I did a refi, I have referred that person to at least 5 people inside Sales Boomerang and at least 5 people outside of Sales Boomerang because of how great of an experience I had with this person. He didn't ask me for it. Not once did he send me a text or an email saying, hey, since you liked how I did this, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but when you are that great, you don't have to ask. It just naturally happens. I'm just texting him going, hey, please help this person. Please help this person. They need your help. And it just naturally happens. And so just to kind of, again, not sure where you're going with the next thing, Pablo. It's like, how do you support you've done all that work up front. Now what? Is it a one-time transaction? No, they're going to have 10 more transactions, on average, 11 transactions in a lifetime for a consumer. Get the next 10 and get them to expect that exact same experience or better the next time around.
Yeah, we can sum all this up with my T-shirt, can't we, Pablo?
That's right.
This has been my philosophy, my core philosophy for my training and for my business for over 20 years. Others first. It's based on my life verse. It's out of the book of Philippians, chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. It simply says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in all things with humility. Value others above yourself, looking out for their interest, not your own. Man, if we can sell like that, if we can lead as leaders like that, put our employees before ourselves, put our customers before ourselves, put our partners before ourselves, and they feel it, Katie barred the door. Nobody's stealing your customers.
That's exactly right.
Stealing your partners because they're like, no, this person's in it for me, not themselves. If you just quote a rate, they think you're just in it for the commission. Don't make that mistake.
That's right.
Build those relationships. It's so powerful.
Dale said it, slow down. One of my mentors, he was 81 when he told me this. He said, Alex, slow down, get more done. Slow down, get more done. And since you just talked about your shirt, I want to mention, I don't know if I have it here or not. There's a book for everyone. And Richard, if you could post it in chat when I mention this, there's a book everyone should read. And Dale, you've probably read it. If you haven't, it's an amazing book, a quick read, 2-hour read, no longer, by Bob Berg, The Go-Giver. The Go-Giver. It is all about giving to others, but it's a business educational book, but it's also a life book, The Go-Giver. Read this book. Everyone in Sales Boomerang reads this book. Everyone that joins Sales Boomerang gets a gift. That's one of the gifts that goes into their gift. And it's an amazing book that just kind of changes the way you look at life in general. And it follows your philosophy, Dale. Others first. So everyone go check it out. The Go-Giver. Amazing. Awesome.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone that's in the chat, and I'm sorry, you guys are on fire. I mean, there's a lot of questions going on. What I'm seeing, Dale, is a commonality in some of these questions around the idea of referrals. Like, is it possible that a referral relationship and technology can exist all together? I want to ask you a question. that might touch on, I think and with regard to technology, and I'd love to hear your take on this, because we get asked this all the time by our clients, all the time. And I think there's a lesson there, whether you use Sales Boomerang or not. So one of our products actually will notify you as a loan officer,
Right.
When one of your past customers has gone and pulled credit with a competitor, right? Like, 24 hours later, boom, I know. The problem is, Dale, is what if in some of those cases, what if I haven't talked to that person in 18 plus months? How would you approach that? Right? Like, how does does technology help me in that? Because, like, walk me through what are your thoughts there?
So look, I learned something as a young man that has paid well for me my entire life, and that is honesty is always the best policy. Just tell them the darn truth. So I would call up and I'd say, you know what? Let me tell you why I'm calling. You and I worked together 18 months ago, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I dropped the ball, and shame on me. But you know what? I'm picking up the ball right now, and I'm calling you because I happen to notice that you're talking to another competitor. And I don't blame you for that, because I didn't do my job, but I am committed to make sure that doesn't happen again. And I want you to know that I absolutely value your business beyond anything I can ever explain to you. And I just let business get in my way like so many of us do. And I want you to know that I'm here today to make sure that no matter what, you get the best loan, the best experience, and the best program of anybody out there. And if I can't prove that to you, you are always welcome to go with any other lender you want to go with. But I want you to at least give me the opportunity to show you that I feel bad about this, and I'm going to make it right. You will be shocked what the answers will be from people. Nobody's ever spoke to them like that before. Nobody ever just ate that crow and said, all right, I screwed up. But you know what? This is why I've stayed married 30 years. Because my wife and I are the kind of people we're willing to say, you know what, we screwed up. And I'm asking for your forgiveness.
Humility.
And I want to do it again. And you know what? It makes all the difference in relationships. So just don't sweep it under the rug and act like it didn't happen. And hey, I just happened to notice, because they're gonna be like, yeah, right. You got notified and now you're calling me. No. Have a nice life. You're out of here instantly. But if you'll eat some humble pie, let me tell you what, it's going to pay dividends for you. I guarantee it.
I love that. And I think, Alex, isn't it automatically the first place our mind goes to is, I haven't talked to this person forever. Who am I to even remotely discuss an opportunity to work together, when they're probably laughing. And the truth is we just need to be honest and be humble.
Be honest.
I love that. Thank you, Dale.
I mean, look, it's so interesting. And again, the way you started this conversation, Pablo, none of this was rehearsed. I didn't know what you were going to ask. Dale didn't know. I didn't know what Dale was going to answer. And I don't think Dale knows that when we get with our training, with our clients who come to us and turn on Sales Boomerang and start getting all these notifications, that's one of those notifications, that the first option is scripting. And Dale, we do this, we give people options because some people aren't as comfortable saying it like you just said it. The very first option is direct. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Borrower, we're a smart lender. One of the things we invest in is blank. I am so sorry I dropped, right? Just like you mentioned, I know this is happening. This isn't lucky. I did just happen to call you at the right moment. No, I invest to make sure that this relationship is this good, right? And I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you before you made this decision to go to the market, but I promise exactly what you're saying, Dale. So definitely look, I'm going to repeat. You guys may have all seen the video we put out there. We live in a new world. Let me explain to you how. We drive with strangers in cars all the time, sleep in strangers' beds all the time. We give money to Robinhood and we slack to get things done. That's a new world. It's a brand new world. And if you don't think people expect you to be there for them when they need you and appreciate it, and they're going to be like, oh, how in the world did you know that you're violating something? No, I'm the guy. I'm the guy you worked. I should be the only one calling you, right? I'm the only one that should have the access to give you a call because I know you. I'm here for you. And I've invested into smart technology to help me be there for you when you need me, and not be the person that calls you 3 months after you completed a transaction to go, hey, customer, have you seen the rates out there? They're fantastic. Yeah, I've seen the rates and I've already did a loan 3 months ago. Thanks for being late, right? I don't want to be that guy. That's why we invest into our team. That's why we invest into relationship. That's why we invest in the tech, into smart technologies. And so it's exactly, I personally believe, Dale, the way you just said it. Be direct, be honest, explain to them and by the way, when you explain this to them, that because you have invested in this, you're talking about the rest of your company. You're like, we as an organization believe in a relationship, not just me personally. Like, you're going to be taken care of by everyone here. That's the feeling. And then you go back to what we talked about earlier. How does your business look? Is it following a trend line, or is it always up and to the right? Well, when you operate as a unit, when you operate as a business, and this comes as an entire organization, even these messages become more believable, because that is what they hear from every time they get in touch with you, your processor, your underwriter, some other loan officer, some other manager. The same feeling and the same concept, the same brand. Again, you will not find a different experience with an Amazon employee in Seattle that you would find here in Bel Air, Maryland. They've been trained the same way. They have the same beliefs. And that's why the brand is the brand. And it's not like, well, I'll have a good experience in Florida, but if I talk to somebody in Texas, I don't know what's going to happen. That consistency starts with the honesty, right? So.
And just remember this, look, by making a mistake, what does it make you guilty of? Being human. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you're guilty of. We're just human beings trying to figure this thing out. We're growing as we go. We're all works in process and progress. Look, don't let it affect you. Just say, all right, I missed that one, but you know what? I can make it right. Better to try to make it right than do nothing about it, because we know what that result's going to be: 0. So you can't win if you don't try. You got to get out there and give it a try, and just be honest with them.
I love that. Fantastic. Alex, if you could, of your lenders, I want to kind of focus a little bit more on technology for a moment. If you could, of your lenders, of our partners at Sales Boomerang, and the ones that are using technology in the best way, what is it that they're doing right? The ones that are utilizing technology right now, and I don't just mean Sales Boomerang.
That's right.
What are they doing right? Or maybe what are some of the common themes that maybe somebody that's listening in hasn't quite figured out yet, right? Or maybe they haven't gone to an event where you and Dale are on stage and sharing them and giving them that aha moment. Talk to me about that a little bit. And Dale, I also want to hear this from you and what you're seeing out there as well.
Okay. There's a lot of groups that are doing it right. As a matter of fact, Rudy Burgeon, he's on the chat. He's been posting things. He's a great example of someone that works within. He's worked with Sales Boomerang at several places, but he's a great example, and the companies that he works with and helps are great examples of doing things right. And I said this recently off a virtual stage, and also said it off a physical stage. Right now, technology-wise, if you're in a technology side of your organization at a lending institution, you have to go back to being a child. And the child does what? Plays with Legos. Okay. So what you heard me say this before, I'm going to really bring it home today. They're amazing technology. There's no reason that you can't make this easy for your loan officers. Listen to me, lenders. There is no reason you can't make life easier, better, more effortless for your originators. Okay. We just finished a great presentation with Finance of America and how they've tied everything together. The idea is, okay, you get a platform, the best platform that fits for your organization, a CRM and a marketing automation platform. Hopefully it's one in the same if possible, okay? You got a great platform, and you start to build technologies and stack technologies on top of that, like Legos. And as you put them together, the Lego set actually starts to grow and look more beautiful and starts to come to life, rather than having a nice set over here, having a nice set over here, having a nice set over here. And they're nice, but they're not communicating together. So the best technologists, the best organizations right now are putting together the best Lego sets that work the best together, that help the loan officer do a great job and to spend more human time with their borrowers. So I'll give you an example. Dave is on here, so he's going to see me mention his name. I'm just going to mention a couple of partners working together and how this works. So let's say, for instance, you invest in a great CRM. Okay. Again, I could mention lots of wonderful CRM partners. A CRM. You then invest in, let's just call it Dave, from Dave's side. You invest in Mortgage Coach. Your investment in Mortgage Coach is to support your investment into the CRM. Think about that. You are getting Mortgage Coach to support your investment in the CRM, because this is going to make some automation happen. But then what? Okay, now I'm supporting my loan officers and I'm giving them Mortgage Coach. Now I've stacked up on top of that, and I'm going to give them, let's say, experience.com for just a minute. I'm just, which is social survey, right? Now I'm going to support my investment in Mortgage Coach that was supporting my investment in my CRM. Now I'm going to invest in Sales Boomerang that supports experience.com, supports Mortgage Coach, supports the CRM. And they all communicate together. They are not separate. They are supporting so that your loan originators are just doing the thing that they do best. And that is what Dale mentioned. They're on the phone for an hour with each person. They're not looking through their database to figure out who to call. They're not putting together emails and automated campaigns to figure out how to get to people. That's already happening. They're not putting together analyses on what things will cost for doing this loan versus the one they're in. That is already created. They're not trying to figure out how to grab people's reviews from them after the loan is. That's already happening. Those things are done. Move out of the way. Let the computers do the computing thing that they can win at, right? Computers are better at us at computing. That's why they're there. But we're better at being human. So let us do the human thing. And so the best companies, to answer your question, Pablo, the best companies are taking all of their technologies and they're not putting them in silos. It's all helping each other. And you heard me talk about technologies that are forward facing, that are on the customer experience, retention, ROI, sales side, but they're technologies that are on the processing, underwriting, security side, compliance. But they can all work together to make things better. Dale said this earlier. Do not treat your processors, underwriters, your back office, your I'll call it your back office team as separate from your experience, right? They are part of the experience. And so they need technologies that all communicate together too. So your job on the technology side today is bring it all together, have it one place where everything happens and that you can interact with all of these wonderful things that these technologies offer in one location instead of making people learn new UI, new logins, new passwords, new UI, new training, new login, new passwords. No, let it all come into one place, let it all communicate together and really make it easy for your loan officer, period. Like make it easy. And I'll stop talking after this. Carissa from Finance of America said it best. Why wouldn't you make it easy? Why are you choosing to keep it hard for your team? Like what is the reason behind that? Pennies compared to what's happened to the loyalty from your team, to the loyalty from your borrowers? You're trying to save a couple dollars? No. Why are you choosing not to make it easy? Make it easy. Put it all together and then let your team go to work.
Dale, anything to add to that, or would you concur?
I concur completely. What I would add to that is this, okay? Technology is designed for three things as far as I see it: for ease, efficiency, and consistency. Those are the reasons you have technology. The one thing you got to remind your loan officers of and your teams of is that it is not the cake. It is the icing on the cake. That's the easiest way I can put it. Technology is the icing on the cake.
There's another analogy.
Your borrowers are the cake. Your customers are the cake. So what I want you to be careful as lenders is how you communicate your technology to your loan officers, because what they hear you say a lot is, we're going to give you all these technologies to make your job easy. And what they compute that is, oh, I don't have to do anything then. I'll just sit back and collect the paycheck. Right. That's not the way it works. What you got to communicate is, we're giving you the icing on the cake. Baby, you're the cake. You got to get out there and you got to take all the efficiencies we created now and the ease, and you got to spend that time you would have spent on your customers,
yes,
on your partners, getting out there and prospecting, yes, getting out there and talking to borrowers, getting out there in the community. That's what you need to be doing with the time we've created for you, because a lot of loan officers aren't doing that. They're just thinking the technology is the sales game. It's not the sales game. The technology is the support to the sales game. The loan officer is the sales game. We can never forget that as long as we are lenders when we work with our employees.
So well said.
That's good stuff. I'm just thinking Iron Man. It's Tony Stark with the suit. It's not just the suit, and it's not just the suit on any old schmo, right? It's got to be on Tony Stark.
That's right.
Fantastic. Hey, so listen, I'm looking at the clock, and I know we're going to have to bring this thing down for landing soon. I want to be respectful of the audience. Alex, Dale, maybe I got you for a few minutes if we happen to go over, because there's a couple things that I do want to cover. In this last segment, and by the way, for everyone that's, again, adding questions, the comments in the chat, thank you. I apologize that we can't get to you. I got two amazing CEOs that have got incredible stuff to share, and so you're getting your value's worth. But keep the comments coming. In this last segment, I want to discuss leadership, transformation, impact. Yes. Okay, Alex, Sales Boomerang works in the community, in charity. Dale, yours with MPPH. It's something both of you are very passionate about, right? And personally, as a John Maxwell guy, This topic really resonates with me. Dale, I've seen your shirt. I've seen you wear it before, and you're wearing it today. And then I've also seen you wear another shirt where it says humble leader, and you touched on humility earlier. Can you maybe talk a little bit more about humility, humble, and what about it makes the mortgage industry better? If we set examples as leaders. And then Alex, and I'll come back to you, but Alex, you're also very passionate about this topic. I'd love to hear what's on your mind on this topic too, because I know this is we could literally have a whole nother conversation, but just a couple minutes, and then I really want to bring it home for everyone.
You know, I had a saying that I used when I was a leader in all the years that I managed sales operations, and I've taught it to leaders forever. And it's simply this: don't do as I say, do as I do. Mm-hmm. If we want to be great leaders, we got to quit letting and start leading. And the biggest thing we lead in is our humility. It's our compassion. It's the way that we view the world. It's the culture we create. The number one thing that I work with leaders on around the country is building the right culture, a culture of compassion, a culture of connection, a culture where you are working for the good of your community, not just for the good of the business, that your focus is not on profits, your focus is on impact. That's what your focus needs to be. So when we talk about leadership, you know, I've never seen a time in the industry that leadership has been more important than right now. I really have never seen it. With the advent of all the technologies, with the changes in the marketplace, with the competitive structures that are out there, leadership has never been more important than right now. And let me tell you what I know. When you have a servant leadership mindset, which is the only kind of leadership that I attest to, where your job is not to tell people what to do, it's to lead them in what to do. It's to let them know that you're here to serve their best interests and to make sure they're successful. Your number one goal, I've said this my entire career. You know, if I were to define leadership with one word, here's the word, it's replication. Your job is to replicate your people from what you were. Because if you became a leader, you were good at what you did. So you want to create people underneath you that think and act and work like you through your leadership, and your humility is the number one place to do that. If you set a standard for people of caring and giving, you're going to build the most powerful culture you've ever seen in your lifetime, and you're going to win in amazing ways.
So I mean, that's it. Honestly, it's so true. It's so true. And Pablo, you're in this organization, so you get to see it and hear it. It's, you know, we make the comparison and talk about this to every person that walks through the doors. A lot of our clients hear this from us as well, that we operate, right, like a professional sports franchise, which is what you talked about before, Pablo. And the reason we say a professional sports franchise is because the people that have gotten to that level, they're playing their favorite game, right? They're doing something they enjoy. It just so happens that they're getting paid for it, right? They're playing a childhood game and getting paid for it. And what's that about? That's about having fun. And if you as a leader can't find people that will have fun in the roles that they're in, then you have to change direction, right? If your team isn't having fun, and if you're not there showing them that it's about having joy in their life, and it's about being, you know, success isn't about becoming a millionaire and then going, I found happiness, right? Success is being happy. And it just so happens that you became a millionaire, right? Or just so happens that you found success in whatever label you give it. A millionaire, you know what, we can even throw that away. It's not about the finances, right? It's about being in a place that you're truly enjoying being around, the people that you're truly enjoying being around. And as Dale mentioned, you have to serve your team. Like what else is there? Like what else is there? Knowing that you're giving a group of people a platform. As a leader, as an owner of a company, you're giving them a platform, right? And they've chosen, by the way, they have chosen. You did not force them. There is no gun to people's heads to come work for you. They have chosen to be there. Why, right? They need to know their why. You need to know their why. You need to know your why. And then you want to support them. You want to guide them. Remember the analogy. You are not the hand. You are not the ball. You are just the bumpers. You are just making sure that the ball gets down the lane as easily, as smoothly as possible with as much joy. And of course, if you get a strike, that's a win for everyone. But you are there making sure that your team rolls down all the way down the lane and gets to the finish line, and they're having as much fun as they can doing it. And so, you know, Dale said it best, and I'm just adding a little bit of color from my own perspective, but he really explained it so well. It's creating an environment where people can be themselves for themselves, and they're not, and this is important, and I wonder if Dale feels the same way. They're not doing it for you, they're doing it for themselves. Right? Everybody thinks the word selfish is a really bad thing. No, being selfish is not a bad thing. Being selfish and hurting others may be something different, but if you're doing it for yourself and you're honoring yourself, then you're always doing what's best, because that's the best version of you by honoring yourself. By not honoring yourself, that's a whole different conversation. We can get into that. But you know, Pablo, since you're in the organization daily, that is just our lifestyle here. You know, one of our core values is be happy for others, right? We're in a sales environment. We're in a competitive environment. We have customer success. We have sales there. Everybody on the team celebrates everybody else's wins all the time. It's a regular thing. And that's kind of the environment that you want to create, is to celebrate each other and yourselves at the same time. So just adding a little bit of color to Dale's message.
I love it. Absolutely. You know, and so that really ties it all together, right? I mean, we started off talking about sales, right? What are the problems? What are the solutions? We transitioned into technology, and we're bringing it in with leadership. You know, really what you guys are talking about, this whole webinar was about becoming a transformational lender, right? Yes. Not just a sales rock star, not just a tech, you know, the tech gangster, and not just a leadership lender, but really it's about doing all of it. And so, you know, we call it not being transactional, but being transformational. And so you guys have really knocked it out of the park. Just real quick, I want to give everyone on here a couple quick call to actions, and then I do want to close with something that Dale's got for us. So if you want to learn more about these two incredible leaders, their organizations, to learn more about Mortgage Champions, and take advantage of Dale's generous offer. You know, he's offering something really neat, $100 off of his coaching, online coaching programs called Mortgage Champions Online. Go to mortgagechampions.com/sales boomerang. Check that out. That's something that we got for you today. And if you want to learn more about Sales Boomerang, just go to salesboomerang.com, request a demo. And by the way, if you're already in the family and you want to learn more about these things, either reach out to Dale, we just gave you how to do that, or reach out to your CSM. We can talk about these, you know, these strategies and how to implement them. All right. Dale, before we go, really excited about this. Really,
you told me this was coming, and I want to see from I am on the seat, edge of the seat here.
Grab a seat, Alex. Could you share a story? I'm saying a story, but you know which one I'm talking about. Could you share a story about speed and automation? This is the most incredible story ever.
I can. Let me give you one final comment on leadership before I do that. Our legacy as leaders is not based on what we accomplish. It's based on how much we impact people around us and what they accomplish. Yes. Don't ever forget that. Very, very important. So, yes. The story that Pablo's referring to is a story about a guy named Bruce Thompson. Now, you may not know that name. It may not mean anything to you, but it will in just a minute. And here's the reason why. This was probably 10, 12 years ago. My wife, Laurel, and I were living in the Chicagoland area. We'd been looking to buy a lake house. We'd looked for several years. We finally found a place we fell in love with, a little town called Camp Lake, Wisconsin. So we make an offer. We put it in. That day, the realtor calls and says, we got your offer. We got another offer. Here's the problem. The offers were the same. So whoever closes first gets it. The race was on. So I go, okay. I call my local bank Monday morning. I call my local bank, guy named Tim Perry, president of the bank, knew him well, done a lot of mortgages. I said, hey, Tim, I need a loan. I need it fast. We got to close quick or we're going to lose this house. We've been looking 4 years. This is the house we want. Here's what he says to me. He says, Dale, hang tight. You're going to get a call from a guy named Bruce Thompson. Now, when he said it, there's kind of this do-do-do-do-do-do kind of feeling about it. I knew there was something special about this guy. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait by the phone. I'm literally sitting by the phone, expecting it to ring. Hour passes, 2 hours pass, 4 hours pass, 6 hours pass, no call. I'm thinking, what's so great about this guy? Finally, 3:30 in the afternoon, I get this call. I pick up the phone. I go, Dale Vermillion. He goes, Dale, this is Bruce Thompson. I go, I've been expecting your call, Bruce. He goes, I know. He goes, I have one question for you. I said, what's that, Bruce? He said, are you available Friday at noon to meet with me? Now, what did I think he was asking me? I thought what he meant was, let's get together Friday at noon and complete an application. I unload on this poor guy. I'm like, Bruce, maybe you don't understand, but I told Tim, we got to close quick. If I don't meet with you Friday to take the app, we're going to lose this house. He goes, no, Dale, you don't understand. He says, this is Bruce Thompson. I said, so what? He said, Mr. Vermillion, let me explain what happened. 8:15 this morning, the bank president, Tim Perry, comes to me and says, Vermillions need a home. They need a home loan. They need it quick. Here's what I did. You've been a customer a long time. I went and pulled your file, checked it out. Looked good. I pulled your credit. Everything was fine. I took your old tax forms. I just figured we could use those because we know you're making plenty of income. I went in, ordered the title, ordered the appraisal, ordered all the inspections. We're ready to close on Friday. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you available on Friday at noon or not? What was the only answer I could give him? I'm like, yes, I'll be there. I hang up the phone. I'm so excited. I called my wife, Laura. I said, honey, you're not going to believe it. She said, what? I said, Bruce Thompson. She said, what the heck are you talking about? I said, we're closing Friday on the lake house. She goes, that's impossible. I said, no, Bruce Thompson. Here's what she said to me. You know, she had the nerve to ask me, what's the rate? I said, I have no idea. I was so excited, I forgot to ask the guy. She goes, well, call him back. So I did. I called him back. I go, hey, Bruce, got a question. He goes, I know. You want to know what the rate is, don't you? I'm like, how'd you know that? He goes, because nobody asked me. They all forget because I'm so good and so quick. They don't think to ask me. He goes, here's the bottom line. My rate's about 0.25% than anybody else. He goes, but you don't care because you're closing Friday. See you at noon. And hung the phone up on me. On the home.
I love it. Bravo.
That is well done. That's a one-man show right there. I love, wow. That is serious.
Never gets old.
Hey,
Who
I hope
doesn't
you're
want a
still-
Bruce
I
on
hope
their
you're
team?
still doing business with Bruce Thompsons, and I hope that we create more Bruce Thompsons out there.
Bruce Thompson's
Yes.
retired at 43 years old. He did it right. He was
There
good.
you go. There you go. Wow.
Dale,
that's
Alex.
amazing.
Thank you so much. Alex, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's so Dale, first of all, thank you so much. Having an hour with you and hearing all your insights and the things that you teach your students and everyone that's gone through your program, it's just been a blessing to spend this time with you. And for everyone that's listening, look, again, Carissa said it best. Why not make it easy for your team? Why not make it easy? You can now. There was a time that you couldn't. Now you can. Invest in tech. Invest in integrating that technology together. Find the best in breed partners. Put them together. Understand why they're the best in breed. Ask your existing technologies who they recommend. Who do you work with best? Who's going to make it even easier for my loan officers? Ask those questions. Turn things on. Make it easy, and be a servant leader. I thank you guys all again. This was just phenomenal.
Thank you, Alex. Paulo. Awesome to be here. What an honor. God
Yeah.
bless you guys. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
guys. Hey, mortgagechampions.com/sales boomerang. Connect with Dale, salesboomerang.com. Get with our team, request a demo. And here's to becoming a transformational lender. Thank you so much, guys.
Transformational lender. Love it.
God bless, guys. Thank you.
God bless you. Take care. Be well.
Bless you guys.